Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Warrior Show, presented to you by MMA Torch. I'm Rhys Lawrence, and joining me as always on the Torch is Editor-in-Chief Sean Covington. On today's episode, we're going to be recapping UFC Columbus, One Championship, and the Masvidal-Covington story that's sort of blown over since their fight last in March. But as you can tell, you can see us as well as hear us. For the first time, myself and Sean, we're going video. This is going to be for our YouTube channel, MMA Torch YouTube channel. If you want to watch there, check it out. But this is the start of a new chapter for myself and Sean, just sort of bringing more excitement to this show. You can see our reactions. You can see Sean's reactions, which I'm pretty sure some of you would like to see.
Hey, don't let nobody zoom in on your mail in the back, man. You got something with a address on it. It's just a barcode. Yeah, get that out the way. You got the scammers on here, man. You have Nigerian princes all in your emails.
Yeah, no doubt. I got a few of them. But listen, we're going to talk about some combat sports for the first hour, and then obviously, and just under how long till WrestleMania, Sean? How many days are we out?
5.
5 days out.
Yeah, Saturday is weird.
This Saturday, WrestleMania, the biggest show for wrestling entertainment for the year, and myself and Sean are going to be doing an hour show, in the second hour, all about it. So hopefully you guys are just as intrigued to combat sports as you are wrestling. But first, obviously, Sean, we're going to talk about UFC Columbus. You watched it, I watched it. Let me just get your thoughts quickly, because I think you said something about it being a similar vibe to UFC London, with the fans and whatnot. But what was the standouts for you from UFC Columbus?
Stipe. He was the biggest standout because he embodied the crowd, and the crowd, he went with the crowd went with him. So he's a man of the people. And as Stipe's loved, I don't know why they don't push him, man, but people love Stipe. And he even got called out. Not really called out. Cormier was saying, hey, you got somebody as at the top of the division, and Curtis Blaydes wanted Nagano. And it's like, well, Cormier couldn't say, no, you get knocked out every time you fight him. so we can't do that. Not every time, like he fights him every week, but he probably would get knocked out every week. But I know the crowd was great, and it had such a soccer vibe to it, an international soccer vibe, not an American soccer vibe, because we don't care about soccer as a country. We don't, not unless it's the men's soccer team on top. That's it. And then they rarely are. So we don't really care about it. I guess I kind of get it. If you can't be dominant in something, why do you care about it? But at least that's a good American attitude to have. But yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. That card was jam-packed with action. The type of card we needed coming out of some of the cards we just had.
Yeah, I mean, I like that point there, just the card we needed, but also you could argue a performance we needed from Curtis Blaydes. You just with him, obviously it's been a rocky sort of journey for him, for the fans and whatnot. I mean, he doesn't seem to be a fan favorite, just a couple of fights ago, and I think you could tell by the way the commentators were speaking about him after his win, the way in which he did it. I think sometimes fighters across all combat sports sometimes are in a position in their careers and their lives where they need a specific win, and they need it in a specific way. For Curtis Blaydes, the knockout was needed because everyone's going in there and thinking he's going to take him down. This could potentially be quite boring. He's not a fan-friendly fighter, and you've seen that in the approach. No takedowns attempted, and he went right for the knockout, and that is exactly what he needed.
I wonder if his chin's any better though, because he still gets hit. Like I just want to know if his chin's good, because Cody Garbrandt improved his chin. Did Curtis Blaydes improve his? Because if he didn't, he's going to be taking a permanent seat on the bum couch, and it's going to be the seat of the man the bum couch was made for, Cody Garbrandt.
Well, that is a good point about his chin, actually, because with this new approach that he's going for, we don't know how many fights he's going to do it for with it, the striking base, maybe going away from the wrestling a little bit. Chris Daukaus is a good opponent, good striker, but there is levels, and he is now with that win. You think of Stipe, you think of Tuivasa, you think of Aspinall, you think of Gan, whatnot. You think they are a level above, and if he is going with a strike happy approach, that chin could be tested. I mean, yeah, let's not forget the knockout that he recently had against Derek Lewis, which was that was
all the way to the end, and then you get knocked out. It's like, man, you got to stay vigilant. You got to stay vigilant, and he didn't. Maybe now he will. I mean, him fighting out of Chicago means a lot to me, because if he sucks, it's just horrible. I'm like, we don't need another L. But if he does well, I still don't want to jump on the hype train, because it's something about Curtis Blaydes just rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like him, man. It is what it is. He's a combat sports guy. It kind of goes that way. Maybe I'll end up liking him. I never liked John Jones, but I mean, I could tell he was a piece of trash. I said it. I could tell he was a piece of trash from the moment I saw him. It was just something about his smile, something about how smug he was, something about how big he was too. I said, something ain't right with you, man. Like, you probably shouldn't be here. I don't get that with Curtis Blaydes. He works hard. And the one flaw in his game is his chin. Vigilance, I guess. I'll put chin in I'll say that's vigilance.
Yeah, I mean, he is an interesting fighter, for all that he gets classed as not being that interesting in the cage, and also in how he speaks. Obviously he has that stuttering problem and things, but I don't think that's something that's anyone's ever sort of picked up on as a reason not to like him. You're right, there's something about him that hasn't crossed over to the fans. Maybe it's just down to the wrestling approach, but then you look at a guy like DC, and loved by the fans, and he was predominantly a wrestler based approach to his fights. And I don't know, maybe in the way where he adopts a wrestling approach, but then doesn't really look to do anything else other than that, and then sort of gets on the mic and starts trash talking and things, and it doesn't work when you're not exciting in the cage, and then you try and excite fans outside of it. Like less than 5 minutes before, you were just ragdolling a guy for 25 minutes, and the crowd were booing, and the commentators were talking about how they were looking forward to the next fight, or something about how he could fight next. That's never a good sign. But it's another win, and I think you're right. Stipe did stand out to me as well. He is underappreciated. I think it's strange where you're in Columbus. You've just won in the main event. You're looking for either a title shot or the next two guys, and you don't call out Stipe Miocic. You don't even mention his name. You call out all these other guys, and Stipe doesn't come up. But listen, Curtis Blaydes is going to do what Curtis Blaydes wants to do. Another fight, Sean. Now, we can't get to all the fights because we're going to move on. But I said to you midweek about Askar Askarov and Kai Kara France being a interesting fight. Obviously, I think this could be a number one contender fight. Give me your thoughts on the fight, who you thought won, and did you think there was any controversy behind it?
No, I don't think there was any controversy, but as good as the fights was, as good as the fights were, I just, something about it, I didn't give a shit. One of the announcers said, "Long live the flyweights," and I was like, "No, are you serious?" I'm like, they're dead after that. Like, I was like, look, man, I can't. That's why I can't get invested. I won't even go to a diatribe about it. That's why I can't get invested. I mean, are they really going to be around or no? I just don't. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I think if you said that 2 years ago, people were saying that's exactly what everyone's thinking, and obviously it was well documented that the flyweight division perhaps was going to come to an end. Henry Cejudo, self-proclaimed, saved the division, and then we're here now with a fourth fight on its way between Figueiredo and Moreno. You've got in one championship that we're going to recap in a second, Mighty Mouse, still about people saying today that if he was to come back into the UFC, would he walk right into a title shot and win? I think it's still alive. I understand what you're saying. It's just
I could see that happening. I don't understand where we go after that though. Like there's no long-term plan for any of it. And that's the big problem. Like, oh yeah, one of the best in the world at something that's gonna die really soon. Did something great. It's like cool. So we get to talk about it for maybe a year and a half and then the division's over.
Yeah, I think that there is a point to say that it's got life for the flyweight division right now. Where is it in 5 years' time? Where is it even in 2 years' time, 3 years' time? It might not be here. I don't know. I think it's good right now. Some fights, it's difficult because sometimes you don't have the depth that you require to keep yourself, focused on it. But
and that's the problem. Like, this fight it was just a fight to me. It didn't mean like anything. Everybody was so pumped about it. And I felt like they were trying to get me to bite. Like they were trying to sell me. I'm like, no. I'm going to stay where I am. You keep doing what you're doing. Like, I mean, no. It's no. I mean, you mentioned Mighty Mouse, and it's like, well, they're not him, so how do I really care? Like, how they're not Cejudo, they're not Mighty Mouse, they're not Demetrius Johnson, they're not even a Dillashaw that moved down. Who are they, and why do I care?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point because not just you, but the whole of the UFC were wondering why there is a point to continue with the flyweight division. Only 2 years ago, less than that. So I think that fight, the Askar Askarov Kai France, it was built up in a way because it felt like it was a number one contender fight. I think Kara France definitely does. Little plug to the MMA Torch in the background there, Sean.
You can see it, but is it backwards? It's backwards, isn't it?
No, it looks good. It looks good.
But are the words backwards?
No. They're good. They're good.
Oh, okay, good. Because I think they're backwards. On mine, they're backwards. I'm like, no. So yeah, I'm playing around with the backwards.
Yeah, that's it. If it was the right way around on you, it would be the wrong way for us. But yeah, keep it backwards. But no, I think Askar Askarov and Kai Kara France probably the best outside of obviously the Figueiredo and Moreno. I'd like to see Moreno Figueiredo be finished. I don't think many people want a potential fifth fight following this one that's coming up, and then obviously Kai Kara France should, I think, in my opinion, get the title shot after that. But listen, there was big standouts. Neil Magny with a comeback sort of win. You've got Matt Brown by Brian Barberena, which was a all-out war. Joanne Wood, unfortunately for the Brits and Scottish fans, myself being one of them, of course, couldn't get the win. Were you impressed with Alexa Grasso?
Yeah, man, dude, look, it was a lot of wars. And the best part about everything was that I hope you didn't hear that. The best, no, good. It was a system noise, pretty loud in my ear though. The best. I was impressed. I was pretty much impressed with everybody who won, even the losers too. It was that kind of card where nobody really disappointed you. Like there was no just true loser out there that came out and just got destroyed that you didn't care about. Like if Curtis, I kind of hate to say this, but this is the perspective of it. If Curtis Blaydes had gotten knocked out, everybody would be like, what a loser, right? And he would have disappointed people. Other than that, there was kind of no way to disappoint people with this card. And we almost skipped over it last week because it didn't have a bunch of names. But we went in depth into it, and I was like, "Yo, wait a minute! Like this is probably going to be a better card than like the last 2 or 3 cards we saw." So, Yeah, I wasn't. There wasn't a fight on here that I wasn't impressed with. Like almost, I would say equally. Curtis Blaydes, because he really needed that win, the way he got it was
Definitely.
probably the most impressive. Simply because he had more to lose and more on
Mm.
the line. I don't think anybody else did really. Um, I also don't want to get into a big Molly McCann discussion, so I'm
Yeah, we
gonna
don't
I'm
want
gonna
that again.
keep it short.
Yeah, we don't want too much of that. But no, it was a good card. And obviously there is more to come. You've got a week off, and then it's back to another pay-per-view. But there is also other combat sports out there. We've seen another show from One Championship this weekend. Um, Obviously, when you've got one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time on the card, even if he isn't the main event, it's going to be the story really. The main event was between Angela Lee and Stamp Fairtex, where it's a women's strawweight championship, so probably won't get as many eyeballs on it as the Demetrius Johnson fight.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, definitely. I think without Sean, getting Angela Lee or the other, very upset. But no, I'm joking. Let's just go right to it, Sean. Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, rear naked choke submission. He now moves to, I think, 4-1 in One Championship, following that recent loss he had.
Yeah, that loss was major. He got destroyed.
I mean, yeah, look,
He got destroyed, man. But One's very different. Let's just put it like that. Let's not do all this other stuff. It's just not the same organization as other places. So that loss isn't nearly as bad as it looked, but it looked pretty damn bad. Like, you would expect him to just be done after that loss. Like, you would think it would be a gradual decline or a sharp decline, but no, winning the way he did this past weekend would just let you know how great he was or is still. But it's not a fluke. But you know how I feel about rear naked chokes. If you go back and look, there was a significant mistake made. It could just be it's significant because you lose on it to a rear naked choke. But like, there was a mistake made. It wasn't anything Mighty Mouse did. It was just a rear naked choke. So I don't know. For me, he still might be on a sharp decline, but he is also not like he's facing absurd levels of competition. He never really had, not never, but he rarely does, if we can be fair. I'll tell you the person he fought that I think was the best, had the best chance of beating him. I was wrong. Two people. Henry Cejudo, obviously, and then Ray Borg. And then he did that, what did he do? He did like a rock bottom into arm bar.
Yeah. I mean, it was
amazing.
It was like a suplex, back belly suplex into armbar. Yeah, just incredible.
That's nuts. And I mean, up until that point, Ray Borg had given him everything he can handle. He really did. And that was the best fight those two had in so long. Best fight Ray Borg had ever had. After then, we never even heard of him. Like, I don't know what happened to Ray Borg. I mean, I know he's around, but like, or was around.
Eagle FC, Eagle FC. Ray Borg is in, and yeah,
yeah. I mean, maybe he can have a resurgence or something.
I mean, he's probably one of their bigger names right now. No, but I'm interested to sort of bring this up, Sean. We're talking about Demetrius Johnson. Funny enough, that the guy that knocked him out, Adriano Moraes, was on the card as well before him. We all know it was a brutal knockout, the way it went down last time out, and it brings a point up, I think, for a DJ, where you think, arguably, at least in everyone's probably top 5 greatest
Absolutely.
combat sport. Some people have him 1, 2, whatever. Went on this crazy run in the flyweight division in the UFC for so long, dominated. No one was even close. Then has the Henry Cejudo fight, second
He
fight.
should have never lost that second fight. Henry Cejudo fought the way Alexander Volkanovski did against Max Holloway, and I don't believe that Holloway lost that fight. I don't believe he lost either of them. But yes,
Yeah.
Henry Cejudo should have never lost that fight. But when Henry Cejudo should have never won that second fight. But when he did, we saw the writing was on the wall for everyone. Even Henry Cejudo, had he lost, it would have been a little bit different. Like, I don't know where we would be exactly, but it would have been harder to. I don't know. Well, we were talking about the future of the division. I mean, uh, I got. Here's my question. We talk about the greatest of all time, but we also say one of the greatest of all time, which Demetrius Johnson obviously is. Like you said, like top 5. Like, he's got to be on like your top 5. He has to be. What do you put him? Do you put Dominic Cruz on that list too as one of? I mean, like goats. Like, there's in the pantheon of greatest of all time, you could have about 5, and you can kind of shuffle through different reasons why. Because Demetrius Johnson not having that loss to Henry Cejudo probably never takes that brutal loss in one championship, which we can kind of scratch off as not dumb luck, but just different types of rules over there and regulations or lack thereof. Where do you have a Dominic Cruz?
We'll get back. Yeah, I mean, we'll get back on sort of.
Sorry,
Demetrius, but no, I think that's a good point you bring up. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? We're talking about greatest of all time. I think everyone's list's fluent. It changes. For me, Dominic Cruz doesn't quite make a probably 5 list. Don't get me wrong, he's probably is the greatest bantamweight ever. But when you're talking the greatest, like you said, like a pantheon, a Hall of Fame, a icon level of status of fighters, and you think of, for as much as you don't like him, John Jones, you think of.
Yeah. No, he's up there. He has to be up there. Even if you hate him, he has to be at the bottom of your top people, of your top goats. That's fine. I mean, he earned it. He's knocking people out, you know? I mean, let's be for real. Machida was never that good. He was just overrated because people just didn't know how to really deal with him until Shogun just knocked him out and virtually ended his career.
Yeah, you've got the likes of those guys, and I think like you said, I mean, for both of us, Demetrius Johnson's up there, isn't he? He's one of the best of all time. Yeah. It is interesting, though, where we think he did lose that fight to Cejudo. It was close. Perhaps could have went either way. There's an argument. I think it wasn't, it wasn't where you were thinking, he's been robbed. But, because of the takedowns and whatnot. But since then, obviously, the trade happened, one of the first ever sort of MMA trades, and we're not going to go too much into what happened with that, with Ben Askren and whatnot. But
to be fair, it made sense. It did. They wanted to move a piece. It did make sense. And I'm not mad at them I'm mad at them because they moved, one of the GOATs. But it did make sense. I got what they were doing. They need to refresh. It made sense. And Mighty Mouse made the most of it.
But he then went to one. He won 3 in a row. And then, like you said, the misfortunes of the fight against Adrian Moraes happened. And at that moment, we'll talk about sort of what it meant for DJ, but just as a spectacle from the fans of what I felt at the time. I remember sort of looking through social media and whatnot and seeing the just unbelievable amount of scrutiny towards Demetrius Johnson. I can't believe he's lost. I can't believe he got knocked out and he's done. He's never coming back.
I watched it live. It was terrible. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't bring myself to watch. Like, it's hard to watch fights sometimes. It's a lot of it on. It's a lot of lot of different promotions, and like I found my way to this fight live. And he got knocked out, and I was like, wow. I was like, well,
Did you think?
yeah.
Did you think he was? We're sort of bringing it back to the loss and then the comeback. Did you think he could come back? I mean, when you seen people talking about like this is he's done, did you think he could come back? And do you think he's still fighting at the same level, or if not, close to the level he was in the UFC?
I didn't think he could come back because that's how it happens. You just get knocked out. Look at Chuck Liddell. Like, I almost threw him up there. But no, there's people you can. He's iconic, and he's known for knockouts and stuff, and just how tough he was. And that was the Attitude Era for UFC. Like literally, it was the Attitude Era. But I did think that Demetrius Johnson could come back after the loss, only because you could kind of like after I put it into proper perspective and proper context. One just has stuff going on in there that, somebody's gonna hurt you from time to time. Like you're gonna come across somebody who's got a significant edge over you in one, and it is what it is. I'm glad he fought. I'm glad he did it. But the reason at first why I thought he couldn't come back was because, I thought that everybody was gonna be juiced. I thought everybody was gonna be roided. I was like, man, I know how this goes. I didn't know it would catch up to Demetrius Johnson so quickly, but I was like, if that's what's happening, then yeah, he's getting knocked out again and again and again. But yeah, no, I mean, clearly I was wrong about that. Good, but I'm hoping that this is the start to him truly dominating again like he has, because if he can't dominate the way we saw before, then there's going to be no real use of talking about him. So we need to bring him up all we can now and give him his flowers, because it still could. He's so close to that loss, and he's still in the same organization, that let's not throw a party for him yet.
Yeah, that's interesting. With sort of the name and the reputation that he holds, he's a big draw in one, isn't he? But one, sort of like you said, it's a very different organization. It operates in different ways. I think for a lot of times they've fed Demetrius Johnson to the dogs.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I mean, look at Sage Northcutt, man. Like, here's the thing: what we're talking about, but people don't know that we're dancing around it. We're talking about the steroid use. Like, it's just rampant there. We all know, it's not a secret. Whatever. Okay. Allegedly, if that helps. Allegedly is rampant there. But here's the thing. Sage Northcutt was allegedly doing the same thing and got mollywopped. Is he even alive? Is he even a thing? Did he get beaten out of existence or what? Like, where is he?
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. There is sort of something to be said about these American fighters that go over to these combat sports leagues, promotions, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. I think for
logo, look at that.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? MMA Torch, guys, check them out on online, MMATorch.com, social medias as well. But we were talking here about Sage Northcutt real quick as well. I mean, he's only had the one fight in one so far, but it was.
I mean, when you get sent to the hospital and you got to go to the hospital anyway, it's bad. Like, everybody goes to the hospital after fights just because, like, that's routine. You get a fight suspension because you were fighting and they looking out for your health. He got sent to the hospital for real. I never liked him anyway. I mean,
what do you think about actually? Because he's for a while he was sort of becoming another one of those prospects that was on the rise, and
he was always garbage.
What happened?
Yeah, go ahead.
But he had the decent record in the UFC. He was winning. It wasn't like he was four losses in a row before he got released. I mean, he had the physical attributes, the athleticism, and that maybe he just didn't cross over quite. But I know that not just you, but some people sort of didn't sort of connect. But what do you think went wrong there?
Well, a lot of people say it was just his camp. It was his father, and he was a really bad influence. Like, he was the one that got him juicing, allegedly, and all that other stuff. So,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I just think he couldn't fight. People's like, he's so young and so talented. I was like, and here's where you're gonna start bleeping stuff out. Well, like, where the fuck did you get that at? Like, we all saw him fight, and you think that he was talented? Sure, he's young, but I'm like, okay, you can be young and terrible. How many years? People are like, he's so young, he's got time to clean it up. I'm like, if it takes him 6 years, he's gonna be like in his 30s. He's gonna be pushing 30, and he's just now fighting like a 22-year-old. Like, no, he was bad from the beginning. He was young and athletic. Yes, he had potential in terms of, I mean, your puppy has potential to be a police dog. Who cares? What sense does that make if that's not the career path your dog is going to choose, or that's not what you choose for him? Yeah, it gets silly because, you know what, that sounds silly because Sage Northcutt was never good, and anybody who said he was sounds stupid. I don't give a damn if it was Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, his mama. They were all wrong about him. He got sent to the hospital for getting his ass kicked. Good riddance. I never wanted him in the sport because he sucked, and I'm glad he's out of it. Got his ass whooped so bad, somebody said, you got to stop this. Good. Go be an accountant, dude.
I mean, that's quite the career change, I think.
Sorry.
You go from, I mean,
he's a bum.
If you've seen Sage Northcutt down the street, you just, like, what, you would just think a select amount of career choices that you would have, wouldn't you?
If you think about it, look, let's just be for real. So, like, it's 2022. It's a lot of beautiful women all over the place, and they're definitely in the field of accounting. Okay, they like to do financial stuff too. I'm in that sector, man. I mean, like, you can run across a couple bankers and stuff. I take my children to school, and I don't see ugly women all over the place. So he could, if he's not married or has a girlfriend or something, like, he's good. He's good to go. He could just, it's a good field to go into. I tell you what's not good for him: getting sent to the hospital. I need to just drive that point home. That dude, and it's not something you want to see, because that means it was really bad, right? Like, something that wasn't supposed to happen happened. He got his ass whooped. That means he should not be in the sport, and I hope he's never going to fight again. His technique was so bad when he fought in the UFC. For one, they cut him. He was a rising star, and they cut him. Why? Like, you got to ask yourself, why they cut him? It wasn't just him. It had to be something else, too. In a perfect world, I actually would have liked to see him have a good camp. I just want to see good fighters. I don't care who it is. He was a fighter. I was hoping he was good, but I saw him fight a little bit, and I was like, ew. I was like, you're not even as good as what's that idiot that with the clown hair? I can't think of his name. The guy with the clown hair that they keep pushing. He wears braids all the
time. Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, he's not even as good as that dude. He's not. You know what I mean, though? That's how they were pushing him, and that's who he was supposed to be.
Yeah,
he's nowhere near Sean. Yeah, his striking's not clean. And if Sage Northcutt had clean striking, sure, whatever. I mean, because Conor McGregor has clean striking, sure, whatever. He makes money. I'm on board with it. He gets us talking. Put some money in my pocket. So good.
It's never the wrestlers that are, when you say clean wrestler, he's a star. It's always clean striker, he's a star. And there's an agenda there. But talking of striking, talking of stars, good segue from Sean as always. It's like he knows what I'm thinking every time. We've got a telekinesis connection between us from UK to USA. But Sean, I think it was a few days ago now, maybe a week ago. Kobe Covington's in a club in Miami with, I believe, the Nelk boys from doing a podcast or whatnot. They went out for some drinks. I seen that one of them posted a video of Kobe, obviously showing the background. I think there was an address leaked. Jorge Masvidal sort of in his I don't know how to really. I think it's strange, sort of the mindset he had, but chose to act on this. Turned up to the club, tried to assault Kobe Covington with a group of people. I'm going to get to your opinion in a second. Just sort of lay out for people. For me, it's very strange where you've been seeing you've spent 25 minutes in the octagon with a man and didn't do nothing. Now you've got to do it on the streets. Sort of that attitude alongside the lack of class to do something in a public place like that, the sort of fakeness, or pretending to be like a gangster, where sort of keeping up a public image or whatnot. I mean, that's just what I've been reading, but seeing what happened, I do find it very strange. I find it quite disappointing from obviously Masvidal to have done such a thing where, listen, Kobe Covington clearly beat you. He deserved the win. He deserves the praise. He deserves the shine from this fight. And on the other end, it seems like he couldn't just let it go, and he couldn't just move on from it. What was your takeaways from what happened in that club in Miami?
I want you to think about. I mean, we haven't known each other for a long time, but my background and where I'm from. What do you think I think he should have did? What do you think I think about it? Just take a guess. I'll take it from there.
What Masvidal should have done, or Kobe?
Masvidal.
I mean, am I allowed to say these things on here?
I don't know. You edit it. You're gonna be the one to edit it. So
I mean, there's a few things I would think you might think of to do.
It's only one. It's only one answer. I mean, just take a wild guess. Not a wild guess, but like take an education.
I'm torn, but I think it would probably just be something like pulling a gun or something.
Yeah, there you go. If you're gonna pull up on somebody, shoot him. That's it. Am I saying he should have done it? No. I mean, that's what hood rules dictate. You took the time and it took the time out and the trouble to find where he was, and with a group of people. For one, as a UFC fighter, you can't punch him anyway. They're gonna throw the book at you. It doesn't matter if he's a fighter too. You're not in that setting. You're pretty much a trained assassin to the rest of the world when you're out in the world. That's why you're in an octagon. If you swing on someone else, that's not, because we can say, oh, but he was after Kobe Covington. He had a group of people. If he engages anyone else, that's it. If he hits them the wrong way, he hurts them really badly, that's it. It's really difficult to say Kobe Covington would have been the only person he engaged with, clearly. I don't think he's an accurate shooter, because I think like 10% of the population on Earth is or can be accurate shoot. Not can be, I'm sorry, but are accurate shooters. So I mean, I don't think he actually should have pulled out a gun, because I don't think he would have hit him. So, but if we're being real, and you're supposed to be this hood dude, you from the hood, and all this other stuff. Shoot him. You pulled up on him. Now pull out on him. Shoot him. You didn't. That it makes him look like even more of a bitch. You lost, and now you're trying to find. It's cool that you're trying to find him, but now you got to kill him. Now you got to kill him. Here's a segue into this. Maybe I'm segueing too early, but if you're Will Smith and you slapped Chris Rock, you need to now go, and I'm just saying hood rules. I'm not advocating for this. Hood rules dictate that you must now go pull up on August Alsina and blow his damn head off. You know why? Because you already slapped someone for less, and he did way more than Chris Rock did.
And
So that's two people that need to go kill somebody.
and
Yeah, I mean, should you do it? No. Like, hey, if you're gonna start playing by these rules, if you're gonna start playing these games, you need to know what the rules are, man. Now it's like, because that's what people are saying. It's like, well, you didn't do this to August Alsina, and we know what he did. So it's like, well, but you're gonna do it to Chris Rock, and it's like, well, you didn't slap Kobe Covington when he was in the octagon. Now you're gonna come see him when he's unprepared at a club. You had 25 minutes to kill him. Legally could have killed him. Could have. I didn't say he could gouge his eyes out, but there is a loophole in which, yes, he could have hit this man, struck him, and killed him in the ring. It would not have been murder, but he could have struck him and killed him in the octagon. Why didn't you do it? All that tough Tony talk.
That's the argument, and I think just to further your point about Will Smith, there is a bit of a. I think Tupac would have shot him. So there is a bit of a, just like what you're saying about. I think it's different. Obviously, we got Masvidal. He's signed to the UFC. He's a big star. Bringing a gun. Obviously, I mean, he's already facing criminal charges here. Quite serious ones. But you're right.
Go for it all, man. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Come on.
Go in.
Come on. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. No, that's sort of an interesting, comparison there, because obviously what we've seen on Sunday at the Oscars was strange, similar to this in a way where you just think, is that just really happened? Is this real? And we're now looking at, according to Mark Raimondi from ESPN, Jorge Masvidal was in court. And is now being charged with aggravated battery and criminal mischief, which are both felonies, bodily harm as well. It's going to be difficult to work out how this goes. He will appear in court on April 21st, and it could pretty much be said that Jorge Masvidal's career could be over. Should found guilty, he pled not guilty, which is interesting. Don't know how that really sort of, works out for you, but we will see where it goes. It is, Sean, it is a strange and just sad outcome, I think, for these two. I think for Colby, obviously, continues sort of on the A side of everything. He'll move on, hopefully. He won't let this drag him down, get involved in it too much, move on, probably go back for a Kamaru Usman or maybe a money fight with Dustin Poirier. I don't think Colby's too interested in, looking for a title shot maybe as much as he was before. So hopefully Colby doesn't get wrapped up in this. But what do you think? I mean, we can't predict what's going to happen in the next month or so for Jorge, but do you think, should Jorge find a way out of this and be able to continue fighting things, do you think he should continue? Do you think he should leave, retire, move on somewhere else? Do you think the UFC will cut him?
Eagle FC, they need that name.
It's a huge name.
That. Yeah. Only problem is he can't wrestle, so I don't really understand. I do understand. I know if you didn't grow up wrestling, that's it. It's something you got to be taught at a young age, or you're done. Like, forget about it. But it's a little bit different when you're an athlete. Like, conceptually, if you understand wrestling, you can always do it. You need to be taught the concept of leverage in what you're doing. Learn how to wrestle, Masvidal. Damn. If he learns how to wrestle, are we having this conversation?
No.
Yeah, I mean, he should learn how to wrestle first and beat those charges. Hire a lawyer, an attorney. and then hire a wrestling coach. Both of them are going to save your life.
It is an ongoing situation, and we'll see where it pans out. Very, ugh.
It's just ridiculous, man.
It is.
How, like, why do that? It wasn't even an emotional thing. It's premeditated.
Premeditated. Yeah.
We joked about Will Smith, but it's not the same at all. It's an emotional thing. It's just a slap, and he got physical. It's like you rolled up with a group of people. A group.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Man, like dude, you're in a lot. Nah, you're in a lot of trouble for that. What you could have done could have cost other people in the club their lives. Because if you're Kobe Covington, like I know you when I asked you, tell me what you think. I think Masvidal should have done. Well, I think that Kobe Covington should have done the exact same thing. You pull up, I pull up. You pulling up on me with a bunch of dudes. I am blowing your brains out. Why would I? It's fight or flight, and I'm finna fight. I'm finna kill everybody there. Why? What? Why would I not? I don't understand why you're clearly trying to do physical harm to me on a level that's just not acceptable. Like, we're not even in the octagon where somebody can pull you off me. This is and for people out there that hate it, this is actually a real fight. And people say, why bring a gun out? Because I don't know what you have. It's you and like 20 other dudes? 5? If it's you and one other person, I don't know what you guys have. And I need to end that threat immediately. So yeah, Kobe Covington should have shot him too. We should be talking about how Masvidal was murdered in a club. I'm sorry, killed in a club via self-defense.
We'll move on because this it's a difficult subject to sort of give an opinion on.
I mean, that's the horrible reality of it. I mean, I grew up in the hood. Masvidal did too, and he playing the wrong game. You got millions of dollars. What the hell are you doing? Doing that. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
We'll see where it goes. It's a difficult one. What isn't difficult is explaining what comes this Saturday. We're doing a little bit different today. We've got the news format, and for this week, we're going to do a split show. We've done probably close to an hour MMA. Final hour is going to be all about WrestleMania, much to Sean's delight. Massive.
Do you have the card up? Oh, let me change the MMA Torch background.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to recap or review, sort of what I've gathered as sort of the main stories heading into WrestleMania. And then we're going to sort of finish it by doing a Sean Covington exclusive take. Pretty much no one else that I know that knows more about wrestling and what's going on, so we'll give him the floor. But just to start off, Sean, I mean, listen, it's the biggest show of the year. It's not just the biggest show of the year for WWE. It's one of the biggest events of the year in sport. Period. It really is. I mean,
under the Super Bowl, right under the Super Bowl, and March Madness, and the college football championship game. Those are like the 4 big things.
I'd say, like, obviously in terms of ratings, it might trump them, but for me and for especially in this country, and around the world, WrestleMania is bigger than college football, college basketball, and I know it's not. I know when you look at ratings and whatnot, but the desire and the demand for WrestleMania week is huge around the world. You know that, I know that, and it's just a great time. You see DC on commentary. He loves wrestling, doesn't he? And he's had a quick plug to WrestleMania.
Yeah, he was like, WrestleMania is coming up this weekend. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
It brings that kid back out of you, doesn't it? Where when you started watching it, I mean, we grow up and we still love it, but it brings that sort of passion back, even when you just hear that name, that one word, iconic phrase, "Welcome to WrestleMania" or whatnot. And I mean, we'll just we'll dive into it. We'll go right from the top, and then we'll get just wherever you want to go with it, Sean. But Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, I think it's an appropriate way to start because it is going to be obviously one of two main events, but it is going to be the main event in most people's eyes, and especially in the company's eyes. Give me your thoughts on the build-up thus far and the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, what you've thought about how the storylines have been sort of paired up between the two, the goings and comings between Paul Heyman and whatnot, and what you are really expecting to see from them in the match and the outcome, really.
I really don't know what to expect to see in the match. I wonder what Brock's gonna do. This is his swan song, really. This is his masterpiece. So, gotta see exactly where he wants to go with it because it's all about what Brock wants to do.
Right.
He likes working with Roman and John Cena. He likes working with the top guys, so that's great. One second.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely does. Does Brock Lesnar? I think for him especially, it's I'm either going to be here at the top or I'm going to leave and maybe go to the UFC. You guys will be well aware of Brock Lesnar's comings and goings between UFC and WWE. I think it's clear to say that he has cemented himself now back in WWE. The money, the sort of lack of injury and damage towards, it's no secret that it's probably a safer and better alternative route later you go in a career. I'm very curious to see how much of this is a real main event in terms of if they are sort of looking to divide the card more, just generally hyping up the rest of the card, or are they really focusing in on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar? I mean, it's interesting. Probably Sean probably knows this better than I do. Where are they as WWE? Are they really focusing in on this Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns matchup, or are they trying to sprinkle some of that hype and all over around the card, making it special for everything, or are they just focusing in on that main event?
They focused on the main event, because that's where all the money is. Brock and Roman are the two top guys in the company, equally top guys. Just like if it was John Cena and The Rock, it's literally just like that. So they don't want to sprinkle it too much. I mean, you got other big matches that we'll get to, but this is it. This is the future of the company. This is.
You think it's that big?
Yes.
Future of the company.
Mm-hmm. Because
Why?
To go on from this, the path for Roman is just unprecedented John Cena level stuff. Like they had Cena on top of the company forever, and Roman's gonna do the same things, but he's gonna do it as a heel. And they haven't done that since The Rock and Stone Cold. Not really. I mean, you could say Triple H, but like even then, John Cena was the guy. Like Roman Reigns will be the guy as a heel, so he'll be essentially Ric Flair in 2022, because that was the last time you had a heel be that big of a star with the title on him on television every week. And that's not, I'm talking about just the levels of stardom. So all their eggs are pretty much in that one basket, because when Roman wins, and I expect him to win fully, even if he doesn't, whatever, he can probably win at SummerSlam and that'll be okay. But I expect him to win. Whoever beats Roman is got to be the right person. It can only be two people that exist in the company right now. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. There's no one outside the company. There's no one that's been born that could take it from him. That's just, I'll take that back. There's quite possibly one other person besides Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins that can dethrone, quote unquote, dethrone Roman Reigns. And that would be maybe two more under that, but you wouldn't believe that they could do it really. But that would be a returning Dean Ambrose, currently Jon Moxley. So, because of his Shield background and stuff. And he could do it, but I don't really see them doing that. I don't know. They would do it if it was a lot of money in it, but I don't see a lot of money being in that. Not as much as like someone else. Yeah, but AJ Styles and Finn Balor could possibly do it, but that's the way the card's set up. I could tell you from there. Let's since you started at the very top, I want to work from the top and then work backwards. The other main event on the other night is going to be Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. I'll ask you, where's your head at in terms of that match?
I liked when Ronda came back, the Rumble. I liked the energy that sort of came with that. It was refreshing to see her being cheered. However long that lasts, we'll find out. No secret, obviously, Charlotte being another one of those heels that keeps the belt, that's on every week with the belt, dominating, like her father did.
Minus the charisma.
Exactly.
I really like Charlotte, but she just, you could tell you could tell she's in it for all the right reasons, but it wasn't the first thing she was going to do in her life.
For me, it's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to continue pushing on a Charlotte Flair when the blueprint from her father is already there, and it's like let me just copy exactly what my father did.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work at this point.
You know a big reason why it doesn't work too, and they're so damn stupid they don't get it. She needs a 4 horsewomen. That's why Flair worked. Like it was different. It wasn't just him. He was the face of the biggest and best, the most well-known group in wrestling history. Everybody knows about the 4 horsemen. Everybody. If you look at 4 horsemen as biblical, then it's them. It's them. That's it. And then if you go to wrestling groups, it's a very, very small club. It's the 4 horsemen, NWO, Bullet Club. Then the Shield got in there. That's it. Like, that's it though. And the Shield, if we're talking about global impact, they don't even make it. DX. Yeah, DX too. My bad. I would say maybe the corporation, but like they weren't branded as such. They were
Evolution.
just sure. On a lower tier.
Yeah.
In terms of success, absolutely. Batista alone. But like in terms of the biggest groups in wrestling history, there's 4 horsemen, NWO, then Bullet Club, and then like after that we're kind of messing around.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have that legacy. So you could have made it anybody. I'm sorry. You had to have, that's the thing. You had to have great workers. Everybody around Ric Flair was great. That's why he was great. And he could tell you how great he was. So, that's why Charlotte always falls apart in front of everyone. They like her, and that's not a problem. And I like her too. But it all falls apart. And then I start to stack up against her father, and then I start to not like her. So there's a duality going on within Charlotte Flair's existence in wrestling.
Yeah, no, just finish your point. I'm going to bring something up.
It's not fair to her. And it's I think it's a good reason why she regresses. She's regressed greatly as a wrestler. She does a moonsault, she does a Spanish fly, blah blah blah. Unless you're Asuka or someone on the level of the 4 horsewomen, which Asuka certainly is, then Charlotte Flair can't have a good match with you. If you're Nia Jax, she can't take you to a good wrestling match. If you're Dana Brooke, she can't have a good wrestling match with you because Charlotte's calling the match, and it's not good. She's not good at that. She's not a ring general, and that's okay. That's okay. It happens. That's why her and Lacey Evans wasn't a good feud at all. But just not to switch gears, but Bayley, she had a great match with Nia Jax in the UK, no less. It was great. Yeah, it was phenomenal, right? Asuka, she also had a great match with Nia Jax. Like, that's how you can kind of measure people up. Like, you can try to see what can they do with the worst wrestler, you know? like you put Seth Rollins gave Dominic Mysterio like his debut feud and match, and he made him look great because Seth is quite possibly, well, he's definitely top 5 wrestler in the world since he's stepped on the scene. It's crazy.
Oh, for sure.
And he's never been out of the top 5. But
and not just
sorry,
not just
I went off a little long.
No, and not just by athletic ability and fight IQ and that. Obviously the nickname the Architect is not just a sort of advertisement and commercial backing for that. He really is, and he's brilliant. I love Seth Rollins, but just quickly picking it back up on the Charlotte thing before we move on, and obviously this, I've talked to you about this dynamic. We're moving on to the 2-night WrestleManias, having 2 main events. Do quite like the idea of having a men and female main event. Sort of gives the shine, sort of makes the company look quite good in my opinion. With Charlotte Flair, I like the confidence. I love the confidence. I love the fact that she sort of does try and think that she owns the place and she owns what she's doing. She's sort of a product of obviously her father, but sort of trying to create her own identity. It just, for me, it doesn't sort of sell because of there's too many similarities between her and Flair, and she comes up on the B side, of course. Right. With her and Ronda, I don't know.
To her,
it's difficult.
Roman Reigns is the Rock. Roman Reigns is like the Rock, and he's like the Rock in Yokozuna and Rikishi all rolled into one, but he's not any single one of them. He's just certain aspects of them. He's also, his father and uncle too. Like he's his whole family. It's the bloodline, and it makes perfect sense. It's great. It's phenomenal because he's an upgrade from what they were. He's not a version of them. He's something different entirely. His father wasn't a damn world champion, nor was he on the trajectory to be that. And real quick, Yokozuna was a man that was champion during the Undertaker, Hogan, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels era. Okay? Ooh. Think about that. He was one of, they had like 12 people in the video game. They could have put more probably. He was one of them. And he was champion. That is crazy to think that he was that damn good and popular, that he was able to have the belt in that era. You know who Yokozuna is in that era? He's the Pistons in between the Lakers and Celtics championships. He's the bad boy Pistons coming in there and stealing 2. And then you go on to the Bulls.
He's Bill Laimbeer.
And around that time too. A little bit past, but a little bit past that time, but close enough to it.
Yeah, he's I'd say Bill Laimbeer would have a good shot in wrestling in that time as well.
Real quick, Ronda Rousey sucks too, like all the way around. I hate to say that. I really wanted it to be different, but that match is going to be awful because there's no way Charlotte Flair can carry her that match. It's going to be dreadful.
She's going to do 3-4 arm rolls. Body slams and you know what I mean? It's just
so bad. It's gonna be so bad.
It's a tough sell
because it has to be long, unless she squashes Charlotte. Which I mean, if she does that, it's gonna undermine everything they built.
What you're saying there actually is so important. When it's a main event of WrestleMania, or even a main event of any pay-per-view, that's where the Goldberg Brock Lesnar never worked for me.
I was gonna say, you remember that?
Because and
with
Goldberg
Stone Cold in it too. Yuck.
Goldberg just never connected again when he came back because it was jackhammer, it was spear, it was done, and it took it for me when I watched. It took away the sort of specialness that I could have seen between those two absolute giants. It was a physical, it was a incredible athletic matchup between those two, and the WWE ruined the storylines with just extremely poor decisions behind how the matches would go. And I see a similar thing with Ronda Rousey, where when she fights people, it's just dominating. It's just over in minutes. You can't do that on a WrestleMania main event. How do you think it's going to go?
Imagine when Asuka comes back and she loses to Ronda Rousey. See, when you put up somebody who's really good and actually serve the people, they'll let you know how good they really were. Like, Roman's getting his flowers now because he did put in a lot of work, a ton of work. Now he's doing the right gimmick with it. It's not even a gimmick. It's not. I watched WWE Evil last night. Oh my God, that was incredible. And it was on Roman Reigns, and it was so good. The opening to that is amazing. The narration by John Cena is amazing. Everything about it is great. It's just that wrestler. It's just people sitting in a chair talking about what's going on and what happened. And the thing that Charlotte and Ronda won't have versus what Brock and Roman has is that there's no real depth to it. This has been years in the making for Brock and Roman. And Roman was supposed to win that first time, but they booed him out of the arena when he won that Royal Rumble. There was no way he was ever getting the belt right then. They kept trying, and it didn't work. But now is the right time, because when he's going to get his WrestleMania coronation the way they always planned. The greatest part about his entrance is he's coronated every time he walks out. And that's to spit in the face of people that, like me, that booed him. And I love it. I'm like, well, good. I doubted him, and you turned my doubts into praise. And I won't be praising this Ronda Rousey. Does she have the ability to do well? Sure. But the worker Charlotte is, it's going to be clunky. It's got to go on for what, like 15 minutes?
Oh, double.
No way. 30. No way this match goes 30 minutes.
I mean, no, I don't think it will. I think it should, though.
It's going to be the worst match you've seen.
I'm not watching that.
It's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. There's no way it can be good. And it's not. It just is what it is. That's not to say Charlotte isn't many things and that she's not good. She's not Walter or Gunther. She's not a damn ring general. She can't do this. All right, enough of her. And Ronda's terrible. Yeah, Ronda's terrible too. Promos, everything.
You're not wrong. Before we move on to very, very, very intriguing matchup, pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. But before we move on to one that we'll talk about in a second, just a final few words on Roman and Brock. Also with the Seth Rollins mystery opponent aspect, I just think you think it's who?
I think they're gonna swerve everybody, and it'll be Shane McMahon first, and then Cody will come out. I think they're gonna really, really get everybody pissed, and then Cody will come out right after that.
I was sort of like, I had flashbacks to obviously when Seth came out and the Money in the Bank briefcase in that moment, and obviously that can't really happen this time or anything like that. But I just sort of got perhaps the mystery is behind him getting himself involved again in the main event. I mean, it's how many times we've seen the Brock Roman saga go on. You've said how many times can it be changed and things, and you think that's already happened. They've already had a WrestleMania moment like that. But we'll see where Seth Rollins goes. I think that is a good storyline right now. We're waiting an opponent. We're waiting a sort of scenario to unfold.
Do you think that Cody Rhodes is the guy that he's going to face?
Oh, I mean, is that really being talked about?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It's the only thing people keep talking about. Dave Meltzer waffles on it, of course.
I've seen comments, but I didn't really know how much. I was going to talk to you about it. I didn't know how much weight and I was going to put into the idea.
I do my best to respect like Meltzer and not on Twitter. Whatever. That's not real life. It's not a real place like Dave Chappelle says.
No,
It's
it's
not a real
not.
place. Actually, I do try my best to respect him on there. He's a wrestling historian.
Yeah.
So is Jim Cornette, and I try to respect those guys just because. Just because we might not agree on their views doesn't mean that they didn't do what they did.
Mm.
Dave Meltzer's a liar and an idiot. He's both. I'm sorry. He's a liar. He's a clear liar. He's been lying about a ton of stuff. I know people are going to go, oh, what did he lie about exactly? For one, is Cody Rhodes is he under contract or not? Because he says, yeah, he's under contract. The Cody thing's finalized. It's been final for weeks. Then a couple days before, like a week before, nothing's final. He says stuff like that. That's not exactly what he said. But nothing's final. Oh, didn't see Cody on the final script for Raw. And it's like, that's because they're not leaking any false information to you again. Like, they're done playing around with you. You served your purpose. I think he makes wrestling journalism disgusting because he's the one that started, not just the one, but he's the main culprit behind the Cody talk. He could just shut up, and him and Sean Ross Sapp could just shut the hell up. Sorry, shut the fuck up, since this is the different hour. Shut up, and just let us see what's going to unfold, man. That's one thing I miss about wrestling is that people talk too damn much now. When we discuss wrestling, only because of Dave Meltzer is this Cody thing a real thing, in the goofy media, because you didn't know, and it'd be best if you didn't know. And right now, since Dave Meltzer is a liar and has been lying, it could easily be Shane McMahon or something like that. Maybe it could be Shawn Mike. Maybe it's The Undertaker. That would be kind of cool if it was.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. I think Seth deserves an opponent. In terms of the stature of perhaps some of those names, but Cody Rhodes, obviously the contract situation and whatnot. That's what my first thoughts were when I seen the news, and I thought, that would be difficult. Would a Cody Rhodes gain the same level of engagement from fans due to? You think? I mean, he's great, isn't he? I think he's great.
Even if they flip on him, great. Now he's a heel. If they just go wherever they go, this would be fantastic. Go wherever they go. They already like Seth. Seth cannot stay face or heel for too long because he just does stuff you like or dislike. Like, you like everything he does. It doesn't matter what he's doing, and that's the problem. Like, they don't know how to book him as a baby face, because then they start making him do heel things, and they don't let him talk normally. So it's hard. It's going to be hard to book him against Cody Rhodes because he has the same factor. Cody Rhodes is pretty much the same. It's like if you let him go on a long diatribe about his father, please, goddamn. I know who his father was. I get it. The last name is Rhodes, man. Could you please shut the fuck up about who you are? I don't want to hear another My Daddy promo from him. But he will. Inevitably, he will. And the second he does it, that's when they need to turn him heel. He needs to talk about his father, get people behind him, and then turn heel in that instant, because he will be regardless. But I think the only person that will be okay in that situation, if it's not Cody, it's The Undertaker. It would make perfect sense. He did it to John Cena when John Cena didn't have any opponent.
That was messed up.
He squashed him.
No, that was messed up. I never got over that. That was messed
I
up.
loved it, man, because it made John Cena look great in my eyes. Because I was like,
It
well,
did, yeah.
yeah, because I was like, wow, he got squashed
But
at
come on,
WrestleMania.
Sean, how that like you're talking about the, in my opinion, the greatest of all time going up against the greatest of all time in WrestleMania history, and the biggest stage of them all, and they made it. I can understand that it's probably too easy and too robotic to do a storyline, and maybe it would have been done better in 2005, 6, 7,
Yeah.
the prime years for Cena and the ruthless aggression, and Taker at that time as well on top, and maybe now it was past its best, and it was. But come on, like.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. You're right about that part. Like they didn't make it. They didn't make the money with it. They should have.
Oh, they made crazy money.
Right. I mean, that's a SummerSlam main event right there.
That's box office.
But I props to John Cena for putting over the Undertaker when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
and
Roman when he came back in the summer.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do that.
It's so and the fact that his legacy, in John Cena's legacy, he's been squashed by the Undertaker and by Brock Lesnar. That's a bad look. That keeps him out of the GOAT conversation. Like literally, he was fine, and I think that alone kind of makes him look bad. Like Undertaker got beat twice, but he didn't get squashed at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Cena
that's a bad look.
Squashed
it's a bad look.
Yeah. Not only that, he also lost to The Rock at WrestleMania. Like he's lost at WrestleMania quite a bit. He lost to The Miz, and he lost to The Rock. I know he came back to beat The Rock, but he's got 2 big WrestleMania main event losses, and he got squashed at one. He can't be a GOAT. He can't be. He's a GOAT. He's not the
GOAT. Before we finish, we're going to finish on Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I'm curious to get your thoughts on how much of a influence Paul Heyman will have on the match. Do you think much or no?
I think he'll be midway through the match. They'll do a really big angle with him.
Do you think, just before you go, do you think there's going to be another turn in the alliance between the two? Do you think there could be a turn from Paul? No, you think that's already been done?
Because he always turns on Brock. That's the thing. Like he turned on Brock back in the day again, with Big Show, and he turned on him with Roman. Made sense. I mean, and I don't know how Big Show didn't make that stick, but that was his shot at the big time, man, and he didn't. Yeah. He never used it right. So I'm glad he's rotting in obscurity in that other gross company where they like to dance before while their brothers are getting beat down. I told my wife about that, and she was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." Then he messed up first thing you do is break a giant rule and then mess up your signature move. What? Anyway, continue.
So you think he will? Just to make it clear, you think Paul Heyman will?
Yeah. I think he'll stay with Roman, but he'll definitely do something goofy. But if he does, it'll what do you call it? It'll backfire on them.
Right.
Somehow Roman will kick out or something, but whatever Paul Heyman does, it'll backfire.
I think similarly. Right. My favorite, Kevin Owens, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, thoughts? You like it? Do you feel it's good? Do you feel it's? I mean, it's one thing to say. Obviously, we all we're not. None of us are stupid here. We all think yes, absolutely, book it, get it done. Let's see it. Is there any reservations from you from just sort of any sort of angle towards it? Maybe Stone Cold being out of the ring for so long, could it not? Obviously, the on the mic it could be brilliant, but in the ring, what's your thoughts?
I think it'll be fine. I think he's been in such great shape over the last 20 years. He's probably been in the best shape of his life, and he doesn't have 20 years of bumps on him. And I know
the knees.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great stunner when he gets Kevin Owens, and that'll be it.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Kevin Owens could take. Here's the thing: Kevin Owens could take Ronda Rousey and make her great on the mic. That's how good he is.
He's brilliant.
Yes, he can make her great, not just tolerable, but like an interaction with Ronda Rousey, he would turn that into a very big positive, huge. Like you would come out of there thinking Ronda Rousey was great. So, it's gonna be amazing. I don't know where it's gonna be in the show, but man, that pop.
Oh,
I think you start things off with it, and then you get into like matches. You get into like an easy. You start off with that, then maybe get into the Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, and Logan Paul and Miz match. I think that's a good place to put that because you got the crowd high. Yeah, if Rey Mysterio, you can't boo Rey Mysterio. Like you got to. Unless he's the last entrant at a Royal Rumble. But that's different. That's different.
Or he holds the world heavyweight title. I mean, I mean, that was cool, but people were like, "Come on now, come on."
So yeah, you put that match on after that, and then you put on probably one of the probably Bianca Belair and Becky after that, and you're solid, and you got a solid show.
Do you think we're talking about the run and the scheduling of the matches here? That's been somewhat of a topic and debate over the least, I think, the last few years of the running closer to the main event. Obviously, it's built like any other combat sport where you've got the run in to the main event, sort of the fights closer to the end, or the so-called bigger fights, the more important fights. But you do then sometimes see a big fight, maybe a Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kevin Owens, perhaps closer to the start. Do you see some of the bigger fights being spread out evenly, and perhaps one of the bigger fights being right off the bat, or do you think they're going to build
it? I think AJ and Edge might actually be the start of it, or AJ and Edge because they're on Saturday, and because they on Raw they announced what days things were going on. It's still subject to change, but I think they're pretty set on what day it goes on. Yeah. Both women's matches are on Saturday. I would flip them. I don't care about Charlotte and Ronda, and people have expressed disinterest in it, to put it mildly. But Bianca and Becky, everybody wants to see Bianca beat Becky for a lot of reasons. Storyline wise, they just set it up right. Because they was like, oh, that she's going to finally beat her because she got squashed at SummerSlam out of nowhere. So it makes sense. And that would be a cool second main event for both of them. That would be this second main event. But I'm thinking Edge and AJ Styles either started. It's hard to put them in the middle because I see that being a real long, drawn out kind of match. The way Edge wrestles, or Seth. You could start with three things. 4. The triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles. That's going to be good. RK Bro or over. It could be that. So you can go with Randy Orton. Okay, you can't go wrong with him. Randy Orton match. Then you could go with or you could go with Edge and AJ Styles, or you could go with KO and Stone Cold to get the initial big pop. Start off real strong, or you can start off with Seth and start off real strong with that too. Because if it's not Cody and it's the Undertaker, you still got Stone Cold in the bag. Still got him in the bag. So
what? Obviously there's a lot of great matchups being announced, and we've sort of named some of them that we're looking forward to. Probably I'm looking forward to just the pop, like you said, of Stone Cold and things. I mean, it's just going to be great. What's your thoughts right now of the build up to that? Actually, just quickly before we move on, of Kevin Owens, Stone Cold. He's baying the crowd, isn't he, Sean? He's doing a HBK to in Montreal vibe going on there with the fans and going against Stone Cold. But I mean, you said it best. Kevin Hart's brilliant. He's, in my opinion, probably the best on the mic in WWE right now. I mean, you got some others.
You said Kevin Hart. I know you meant Owens though, because you were thinking of Owen Hart, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Owen Hart. What What sort of have you been liking in this build up between the two? Because it has been it's a great matchup of personalities, isn't it? Obviously, it's going to be Stone Cold's homecoming as well, Arlington, Texas. But is it whereabouts is it actually?
I think it's Arlington. Yeah.
Arlington, Texas. Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be incredible, isn't it? But what have you sort of liked between what you've seen from Kevin Owens going up against and talking about one of the greatest superstars of all
He
time?
let him main event Raw with a promo to call out Stone Cold. I thought that was just, I mean, damn. People are like, oh, just go to AEW and get a bunch of money and break your neck in like 2 weeks. And instead, he was like, no, I'm gonna stay here and make money because their goal was to get to WWE. People, because it's about the professionalism. So it's gonna be produced really well because that's what they do best, and that's professional wrestling is all in the production. So the best thing they did was just kind of pull that production back and let him sit there, old school Monday Night Raw, and just let him just let KO go and call out Stone Cold like they used to. And I think, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's probably his favorite moment. It's probably that's gonna be this Stone Cold thing's gonna be his favorite moment in wrestling, and he's probably gonna be like, well, I don't even know what to do now. So
we'll see how it plays and all that. I just that's sort of some of the topics I was wanting to discover, but to talk about really. But obviously, you are the lead for everything wrestling. Give me other things you're looking forward to this weekend, or just perhaps maybe just things that you've been thinking about, but no one's really talking about. It's just some of the things that you're thinking.
Do you have the card up? Pull the card up in front of you and just name, just run down the card, and I'll tell you real quick what I'm thinking on each of them. It's a pretty big card,
oh, it's huge. Let me pull it up.
Now,
right.
They've got. I'll start with one of them. I think, like I said, with AJ Styles and Edge, it's going to be great from an AJ Styles perspective, but I don't like the way Edge wrestles now. Maybe I never liked it. I don't know. That can't be true, but it's just a little slow. Not how the story he tells is more. It's an older story, and I don't know how much I like that anymore. AJ Styles still tells the stories he used to tell in like TNA. It's crazy. Like he's still TNA good. When you and not Edge has been gone for so long that he would never be as sharp as an AJ. Maybe he is, but it's hard to say he'd ever be as sharp as an AJ Styles. AJ Styles, once he's done, he's done. If you think about who's done it the most consistently at the highest of levels,
yeah,
nobody comes close to AJ Styles because he's at the highest of levels still. He's still, if we're talking about best wrestlers in the world, I'm going to be nice and say he's just in the top 10. That's to not offend people. But if we're being real, it's top 3 is between like him, AJ Styles, Seth, and I don't know who else. I really don't. A lot of people say Daniel Bryan. No. Just like Ric Flair said, it's not close. AJ Styles is, man, he's way better than Daniel Bryan. They wrestle differently, but like, and Daniel Bryan tells a different story, but like Daniel Bryan is not on the level as AJ Styles, and AJ Styles has been on this level his entire career. The only time he might have been better was in ROH. That's because he was slightly younger. But like in terms of what he can do, he can still do everything he used to do in ROH. And now he's better at telling stories. So gotta watch that. The entrances are gonna be amazing. Edge's entrance is gonna be crazy. Now for like a Debbie Downer. Omos versus Bobby Lashley. Yeah. Yuck. That was almost for the like a title unification or something, or the WWE title. Nah, like Omos he's giving me Giant Gonzalez vibes, man.
Yeah.
Not even Great Khali vibes. Which I wish they would just give him the chop, and then I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever.
Just dry, no cutting edge, and
I was playing. I think it was Raw 2005, 2006, Raw versus SmackDown.
Oh, what a game!
That chop would split my wig every time. Like my boy Charles, he just boom chop me, and it'd be over. 1, 2, 3, and I would look up. It was like 2 or 3 times in a row. I just got chopped. I was doing well, and then I started getting Batista. Batista was super well rounded, so I got him, and he could deal with the power. So that's the only way I got around that. But that chop, I'm telling you, give him that chop, man. Give him the Great Khali chop. I think he deserves it. I think it's what he needs. I like the choke bomb. I get it. You give him that chop and just start letting people bleed. Chop them, bow. Oh, I think he cracked them open. We're good. Right on the hairline. I love it.
Yeah, so I've brought up the card. We'll do night one first, of course. Things we've not talked about. Drew McIntyre, you mentioned the New Day. The New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland is interesting due to the fact that Big E.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. I wish they had that Big E wasn't hurt, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, your thoughts on Big E. What's happened? What sort of, because it was to start with a great time for him with the championship run and whatnot, and now where he is, it's your thoughts on just sort of how it's panned out for him and what it means for the New Day, because they have been in recent times, especially at WrestleMania, they've been the hosts one year. They're such big with the crowd and whatnot. Your thoughts on that fight with obviously Big E on not there.
Actually, I hope he shows up.
Okay.
I know he's hurt, and they generally just keep you off when you do that.
Yeah.
Hurt, but he should show up. It'd be a great morale. It'd be a big pop from the crowd, which you could use. He's probably there anyway. I know it's difficult for him to probably get around, but you need to pull whatever strings you can get to have him appear on screen at least. Something. We need to see Big E. But yeah, it's gonna be a good match. I mean, New Day doesn't do bad matches. They're always at the top of the division. Whatever division they want to be at the top of, whether it be mid card or tag team, whatever, world title picture, they're always at the top. Xavier Woods is the next guy to go over as a champion, and he might be a dark horse. I mean, now check this out. He might be the dark horse to dethrone Roman. You don't lose anything if he does. He's still one of your greatest champions ever. He's got a master's degree. He's a doctorate. Sorry. So yeah, he's a doctor. Doctors, masters, whatever. He's smart. Who cares? I'm not. I don't have one. But he's a good guy to go with for obvious reasons. You can do an angle with Big E being jealous or Kofi being jealous and it not hurt your bottom line. You can have those two go up against each other at SummerSlam and hug it out. You can do that without that feud turning one of them heel. It's very few times you could do that, but this would be one of them. So yeah, that's that match. What else you got for me?
We'll do Usos, Shinsuke Nakamura, Rick Boogs. Not perhaps. It's probably going to be one of the most. Everyone's going to get some food, some drinks.
Yeah. I would. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because it feels like they could lose those titles. And if they lost those tag team titles, then it would make it look like Roman could lose his title too.
Yeah.
And I think they want to plant a seed of doubt. So it might be a title change, and I don't think people want to miss a title change. But yeah, I see where you're going with that. I think they need to do better building with Rick Boogs and Nakamura. It's good, but they need to switch it just a little bit and get more out of what they're doing. They're getting a lot of mileage out of it, but I think it can evolve, be a little bit more. It can evolve and be more involving for everyone. But whatever. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they're not fixing it. Next,
we'll move to night 2. We've talked Brock, we've talked Edge a little bit. Let's talk about RK Bro. It's an interesting storyline, in my opinion, where I think Randy Orton is sort of in a crossroads, if you will, where he's thinking of sort of ways not to stay relevant as such, but when you've been at the top for so long, we're talking about John Cena earlier, we're talking about Roman Reigns sort of prolonging this title run, this, Ric Flair did it for so long, didn't he, where you dominate for so long, you win titles, you are in main events, you're at WrestleMania, and then obviously the progression continues, new people come in. Randy Orton's done so well to maintain himself in the company and whatnot. I've enjoyed the sort of backstep he's sort of taken in ways where he still gets the respect. I see it. Yeah. He still gets that love and affection from the crowd. I mean, he's one of those, like you said about Seth, where he can go heel, he can go babyface. They're going to respect him no matter what. He's a decade into his career. He's one of the in my opinion, quite underrated in terms of when we talk about the greats. And obviously this partnership with the for RK Bro is interesting. It's fun. It's probably a family friendly sort of matchup of styles and personalities there. What's your thoughts on those two as a partnership and tag team champions, and what challenges they'll face on Saturday or Sunday?
I think they're gonna retain. I think the Street Profits will turn heel, which is weird because they shouldn't. I don't understand why they would really turn heel. I mean, here's what I do, and the titles, the main titles being unified, so they might end the brand split after WrestleMania, very shortly afterwards. I swapped the Street Profits and the Usos.
Right.
Really easy to done, and you get a lot of mileage out of that, a lot of it. Because if you swap them, then you don't have to worry about, like Roman winning the title, you don't have to worry about where Roman is because he's wherever they are, if he wants to be. I think RK Bro, I think they're gonna lose the titles shortly after WrestleMania, but not at WrestleMania. Alpha Academy, they got a lot of they need to keep those belts. Alpha Academy is great right now. They're the hot act. RK Bro sells more merch, but I think because of that, you need a strong team like the Usos for them to battle, or like a New Day. They're better off battling another team without titles. So take the titles off them, give it to the Street Profits or Alpha Academy, but after WrestleMania. Also, I think Randy Orton is having a great time because Matt Riddle is young. They probably smoke a lot of weed, allegedly. And Matt Riddle gets the business. Like, he's very... for one, he's extremely athletic. He knows what to do to keep his body right. Yeah. He knows what toes not to step on. He doesn't take just any material, but he can take any material and turn it into gold. And he's pretty much like RVD, but younger, And I see Randy Orton seeing that. Yeah, I see Randy Orton seeing that in him and saying, yeah, man, like, this dude's the future. Not only do I give him my blessing, but I think it's just one of those friendships that came out of nowhere. Because we've heard Randy Orton say things he's never said before. I'm having the most fun I ever had. Fun? The Viper? You're known for stabbing people in the back. He's having fun. So, yeah, it's authentic. So they're going to keep They got to keep rolling with it for a while now. I don't know when he break up, but I don't see it coming anytime soon. Especially if you can move them to SmackDown and
Mm.
get all of that mileage out of them there.
Eventually, when they do split, do you see a return to the Viper mindset, a heel turn, a stab in the back, that type of thing,
I
and then he
think
goes
the
on
only
to win another, probably a major title. Do you see that or no?
Yeah, I could easily see that, but I
Yeah.
think the best thing to do is actually tell a different story and have Riddle turn on him. Because
Mm,
Riddle, yeah, if you have Riddle turn, we'll never see that coming. Everybody's
no.
like, oh, Randy's gonna turn, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But if Riddle turns on Randy, man, instant heat. We're gonna be like, what? So yeah,
Um,
turn Riddle, and then you should be good.
yeah. There is a couple others I was going to sort of bring up. Pat McAfee, thoughts on his sort of rise in WWE in terms of, obviously it was a conscious decision to bring in such a popular figure within sport in general. Um, do you like the acquisition that they've brought him in with?
I love it.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Uh, well, you know what?
He's
If
good,
they're
isn't he?
real, oh yeah, he's really great. He lasted longer than Adam Cole did. Oh, kidding. No. But no, that was a great match to bring him in on, and it's a shame Adam Cole didn't stay because it's probably Adam Cole's match, if we're
Mm,
being honest, and if we're being real. Instead of being like a dopey sidekick, Adam Cole's probably the person that's in Theory spot instead of Austin Theory. I'll say this: you could probably even make both of those guys be in the same spot or trying to get that spot, and it's Adam Cole versus Austin Theory. Um, in terms of what Pat McAfee did to get him on, like get Vince on the show and actually get the match, I think it was all brilliant. But if WWE is really smart, you get Aaron Rodgers at WrestleMania. You give him a ticket because Pat McAfee has Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers on his show all the time. The talk of the town is Aaron Rodgers. Get him on the show. It's
What
gonna be a
about
great match. It's gonna be a
it?
great
It
match.
will be. It's definitely interesting, isn't it? I think Pat McAfee's. I agree. He's brought a sort of different dynamic with him since joining WWE. And um, what sort of other. I kind of want to, before we sort of wrap up on what other matches we're looking forward to and whatnot. What also are you sort of thinking in the back of your mind on potential surprise appearances? People who, like you said there, an Aaron Rodgers who comes along. Are you thinking that maybe some of these superstars are going to bring someone, or someone going to come in? What's
I'm
your thoughts there?
hoping. I'm hoping. Okay, so yeah, good. I was gonna transition into from McAfee to Logan Paul, who can
Right.
easily bring Jake. Please bring Jake Paul. You need Jake Paul. He brings so much heat, so many eyeballs. If you Logan Paul's he's just a little bit different in that regard because he's not as vocal as Jake. Like
Right.
not nearly. But Logan Paul, I think, is think about this. Bad Bunny was phenomenal in what he did. I think, and Pat McAfee is also phenomenal. Like an actual professional wrestler and an athlete. So I see the difference between him and Bad Bunny. But Bad Bunny not being an actual athlete and how natural he was at it, fantastic. So we've had two of the greatest, easily the greatest celebrity wrestlers ever, easily. And then we got the third best, who should be Logan Paul. I mean, he's a natural athlete too, so he looks good, man. I mean, he does. He looks like he can do this for real. I kind of want to see him do this for real. I really do. Like Give him a match on Monday Night Raw right after this. Like, what else is Logan Paul doing? Nothing. He's a millionaire. He's boxing. He can box and be in a WWE ring at the same time. He's clearly doing it. But you get the added bonus of, hey, guess what? At SummerSlam, Logan and Jake Paul versus whoever. Who cares?
RK-Bro.
Sure. Yes. It writes itself. It didn't even matter who they face, man.
The Usos, they get a title run. Could you imagine a Jake Paul, Logan Paul title run? WWE?
I could. That would be amazing.
Could as well. You think about it, actually, Sean, where you think the wrestling pedigree of Logan Paul, you think the boxing power of Jake Paul, like they could.
I mean, he's a wrestler too, so he claims.
Yeah,
like they're both athletes, so they can do this. I'll put it to you like this: they're already bigger stars than Gable Steveson. I don't know. They're not better athletes in terms of what they do, but they're still athletes. And
they're athletes.
And
sure.
He might not be better than them. Imagine that. It's rumors that he's slated for the Raw after WrestleMania, but imagine if the Paul brothers are better than Gable Steveson. It's crazy. They could be. It's a toss-up. They're on the mic. We already got it. We already seen them and what they do. Gable Steveson, we've seen absolutely nothing he can do. I mean, we know he can. We know that he could. He's a great amateur wrestler. We don't know what he could do in the ring in terms of the pros. Like, look at. It's a little different. It's a lot different from Ronda Rousey, but like, it don't always translate over. She's no Shayna Baszler, to put it like that, or Jessamine Duke, or Marina Shafir. She's not even. Again, we got the leader of the four horsewomen being the weakest of them. That's probably why they put her and Charlotte in the match together. Ooh, because they're the weakest of their respective groups. But I mean, even so, if we're being for real, you're the weakest of the four greatest people. Like, so what? It's whatever. I mean, respectfully.
I like that idea of bringing Logan and Jake into the. I think we sort of talked a little bit about the Jake Paul Miz sort of partnership, tag team partnership, and their opponents and whatnot. Your thoughts on, quickly before we just Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn, another one that's
gonna be crazy. It's gonna be that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun because Sammy's gonna carry it all, and somehow, some way, they're gonna do some really goofy stuff that's actually entertaining for adults, and it's gonna be in the middle of a serious wrestling show, and we're all gonna accept it. So it's Sami Zayn. He's probably the best worker in the company. He's certainly one of them. There's a lot of great work. I mean, when you're a professional wrestler, this is what you do. Being a great worker is just what you do. You're a superstar, but like, it doesn't sell you well. It doesn't help you if you say, "Oh, all these guys are great workers." Someone will go, "What the hell is that?" A worker? Like, they're all great workers. They work here, right? Aren't they all great? So it's kind of a given when you're with WWE. But Sami Zayn also has the ability. He has the comedic ability. He's a superstar. That's why they paired him with Johnny Knoxville, because Sami Zayn's going to come out of this looking amazing. They're going to say, thanks. What if Johnny Knoxville is the fourth greatest celebrity wrestler we've ever seen? It's possible we can see three of them,
the Mount Rushmore
perform.
Of celebrity.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Because Logan, I'm thinking Logan Paul's going to be good. He had some really good work punches where he was hitting Rey Mysterio without hurting him, and I was like, damn, this looks real. Like, I thought he was gonna. I mean, and you got to be careful with that, because you think, you might act not knowing what to do. He could have hurt Rey Mysterio, but no, he was making full contact without actually. He was like rolling his elbows. It was crazy. He was doing great work. I don't know what the hell the Miz was teaching him, but damn, he looked better than the Miz did. Just a little bit in the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've sort of talked about it a little. It is a interesting matchup between obviously the Miz. I think it's perfect, isn't it? The Miz to partner up with Logan Paul for his first um, wrestling extravaganza of a match, no more than at WrestleMania. The Miz is sort of that perfect balancing act for Logan. I think it's going to be hostile, isn't it? He's not going to be liked.
No, I love
He
it because he's all smiles, and he should be. He doesn't care because he's supposed to be a bad guy. So booing him is great because he's getting the reaction he's supposed to, and he's loving every moment of it. But he's also super smiley. He's that oblivious heel, like, oh, you guys hate me. I don't know why.
I
And
don't
then
quite
he'll do
understand
something.
the for him. I kind of understand because it's just it's a Paul brother. They probably the fans probably get a bit confused at who's who and whatnot. I just don't quite get the heat that he gets. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
he's I think he's funny. I think he's entertaining. He's an athlete.
People are jealous, and it's weird,
Yeah.
It's that old jealous trope. No, it's not a trope. The guy's rich. The guy's tall. I guess people find him handsome. I don't know, but probably so. And he's doing stuff you can't do. And it's like, well, I hate him because it's like it's undeserved. What part of it's undeserved? He got booked on a card. You didn't. I don't understand what's undeserved about it. Like, clearly he got here being who he is, and that's kind of weird to be like, you shouldn't be who you are, and you shouldn't be here. Well, okay, just shoot him in the head then. Sorry, it went dark, but like, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, let the guy be himself. What are you gonna do? Find him in a nightclub after it? Shots fired.
We've sort of covered the whole of the two nights. You've sort of given your thoughts. I've given some of mine. Sean's obviously, like I said, number one in wrestling. He's sort of given you guys some of his analysis, some of his thoughts prior to this weekend's event, WrestleMania. Massive night. It always is. Massive 2 nights it now is. Sean, is there anything else that you want to tell the fans about what to look for in this 2 night extravaganza, this incredible sort of show that it's become? What would be your lasting thought before we see this
tailgate is one of those things. Don't tailgate like at WrestleMania. I mean, you should do that. It's in Arlington, Texas, so probably going to be a lot of that. You should. And to be honest, they're probably going to be Debbie Downers and don't start fires in the parking lot and that bullshit. But whatever. You guys get where I'm going. I'm probably going to have a WrestleMania party. My friends are probably going to try to get the code or something off me anyway. So yeah, they might as well just come up and watch it. So yeah, I'm gonna have a WrestleMania party. I'm gonna barbecue for 2 days. Maybe a salmon on a Sunday because I'm barbecue salmon is just delicious. So what I'm saying is make an event out of it like they do. Get your favorite drinks, get your favorite people, get your favorite foods, and have fun. Because next week, I'm gonna destroy AEW. I hate them. And that's not coming out of nowhere. We don't have time to do it now, and we're probably going to spend a lot of time on it. But to get very serious really quickly, the Black News Channel, a Black News Channel shuts down days after ratings high. You want to know who was behind, who the biggest investor of the Black News Channel was?
Who?
Shahid Khan. Or Shahid, sorry. Yep, Tony's pops. I don't dislike him at all. And it maybe the product, I don't know. Maybe it sucked. Probably. It's probably what we probably left-wing trash or right-wing trash. I don't know. It's probably trash. That's fine. But man, for somebody who his son preaches all this diversity and all of this and all of that and oh man, inclusive. And you your father rather, invest all this money in you, and you're a failing business. People say it's not failing. Shut up. They're losing money, just like this black news channel did. Yet they're still funded. So yeah, next week I'm busting that ass. Okay,
Yeah, we'll
coming
do.
for that ass. But
We'll
this
pause.
weekend, this weekend, I'm just give me a second. This weekend, we good barbecue. I'm gonna find some beef hot links. I'm not Muslim, assholes. I'm Jewish. Get it right. There's nothing wrong with being Muslim, but you guys fuck that up all the time. I'm Jewish. So I'm going to find some really delicious, not beef either. I mean, not chicken either. I want some beef hot links, some good I'm going to barbecue those up, get some good drinks, probably some Modelo. What's your favorite beer? If you drink beer. I don't know if you do or not.
Probably. I like Jupiter. I like Corona. I like.
Boo.
No, come on, man. It's different. It's
You
different
said
here. I
Corona.
mean, you drink. You in the over the pond drink some crazy stuff. Bud Light. What's all this stuff, Sean? What is
I mean,
this?
I look. I just had some Guinness like 2 days ago. I've always
Oh.
been Guinness and hot wings, man. Let me tell you something.
Ooh.
Drinking Guinness with hot wings is like having a glass of cream or milk with them. It nullifies the heat, man. So do that this weekend. Well, you know if some pub is showing Wrestlemania, which I doubt they are, but if they are, if they are, go ahead, get yourself a seat, get yourself a half a pitcher of Guinness, half a order of hot wings. But yeah, I'm gonna make some food this weekend. Have some friends over for 2 days, probably 2 different groups of friends, but whatever. Yeah, let's do that and have some fun, baby.
Let's go. WrestleMania this weekend, guys. Oddly enough, there isn't much combat sports this weekend. I think that's a wise decision because WrestleMania is going to take over as it always does. For myself and Sean, this has been another episode of the Weekend Warrior Show. Hope you guys liked the WrestleMania dynamic that we brought. I did. It was brilliant. Sean giving us his insight as always. Enjoy WrestleMania, guys. Take care. Have a good week. Let's watch it. Take care.